Hello, welcome to Culture TV and to our online program, Let's Speak Russian. This is lesson 51. In this video, we're going to revise the declension of all the personal pronouns and the declension of nouns in the accusative, dative, and prepositional cases. All of this we have covered in previous lessons already, and we're going to learn how to decline nouns in the genitive and instrumental cases. So we're going to finish off noun declension in this lesson. And lastly, we'll have a look at some quantity words that we always have to use with the genitive case. Stay tuned. So this is part 5 of cases, and we're getting quite technical now. We're mainly going to be focusing just on rules. So I would say that when you learn cases, there are two main steps. The first one, which accounts for, 40% to 50% of the way, is understanding why and when we use cases. And I'm quite certain that we can tick that off already. The second part is mainly just learning the rules and then the exceptions to the rules as well. Nothing particularly exciting, but you have to do it if you want to speak Russian well. And as I said in lesson 41, there is no need to memorize rules, you just need to practice them until it becomes second nature, i.e. you don't really have to think about it, it just appears to be common sense, something natural, okay? Now I'd like to start today's lesson with another culture insight, because, on the date of recording of this video, there are quite a few important festivals and holidays taking place in Russia. One of which is Первое Maya, the 1st of May, and also Pасха, which is Easter. So let's just have a look at what these festivals mean to Russian people. Nothing too detailed, just for your interest. So, Первое Maya is the 1st of May, and this is a national holiday in Russia. It's a bank holiday where everyone has the day off. And very often, if this is during the week, then the whole of the week will be a holiday as well. And because there are some important dates coming up in a few days as well, then very often the Russian government just says, right, okay, from like the 1st till the 10th of May, for example, those are all non-working days. And so people tend to go on holiday or just to their summer houses, the dacha. We'll look at that in more detail soon. So their summer house in the countryside, or maybe even abroad. Obviously not this year, but in general, it's just a holiday. Now, originally, this was the day of labor, which is why it's called Labor Day in Russian, День труда. And the origins come from the US, where protesters were demanding a reduction in working hours. And that later spread to other parts of the world, where every country kind of added its own unique elements to this date. In Germany, for example, this festival is also celebrated on the 1st of May, and likewise in many countries of the CIS. So here are some drawings, photographs from the Soviet times that depicted the celebration of the 1st of May. As you can see, it was just a very joyful day for many people. There were street parades, public gatherings, parties, if you want to call them. As you can see, so many flowers, so much brightness, joy. It kind of is associated with spring as well. And commonly, there are 3 words associated with this day, and that is mir, Trud, Mai. Mir is peace. This is actually a homonym. It also means the world, but it does mean peace as well. Trud is work or labor, and of course, Mai, May. So quite an interesting celebration there. And then Pascha is, of course, a religious celebration. This is Easter. Nothing too different from the Catholic and Protestant Easter. However, do remember that the national religion in Russia is, of course, Christian Orthodoxy. So there will be a few differences. For example, it is later. The actual date for Easter is later. Similar to what we saw in lesson 35 in the Culture Insight over there. Christmas is on the 7th of January, and I believe it's something similar with Easter, whereby Russian or Orthodox Easter is always after the Protestant or Catholic one. The other differences really include the traditions. For example, eggs are not chocolate, but rather they are painted eggs. So actual eggs from some bird, usually it's chicken or geese or ducks, and they will be painted. And then we have this cake. Well, it's better to say a loaf. It's called the Easter loaf, which is made with this dough with fruit and raisins and other things inside, and of course with icing on top as well. Very traditional at Easter. Okay, so there we go, 2 very important dates in the Russian calendar. Now let's move on to grammar. So the first part is just revision. I'm not going to explain anything here. You all know this already. You can either take this as an opportunity to test yourself, so pause the video and then see if you get it right, or just to revise it. Nice and quickly, just to get us started. So here's the pronoun declension. Here's our table. We already know all the pronouns in the nominative case. No need to go over that. Let's start off with the accusative. So here we go. Меня, тебя, его, ее, нас, вас, их. Dative. Мне, тебе, ему, ей, нам, вам, им. Genitive. Меня, тебя, его, ее, нас, вас, их. The same as the accusative. Now the instrumental. Мной, тобой, им, ей, нами, вами, ими. And lastly prepositional. Мне, тебе, нем, ней, нас, вас, них. Hopefully you've got the majority of that correct. Also, please remember the prepositions that we use with these cases, which cases are triggered by which prepositions. Do rewatch lesson 45 if you're still unsure. Now for noun declension then. Nice and quickly. Accusative case. A goes to O, ya goes to yo for feminine nouns. For masculine animate nouns that end in a consonant, and from now on I'm going to use the Latin letter Z to denote a consonant, you just add on the letter A. Inanimate nouns don't change, neuter nouns don't change. If it's animate and it ends in A or ya, same rules apply as with feminine nouns. Dative case, A to ye, soft sign to E, iya to E, A to ye, consonant plus O, soft sign U, or to O, ye to U. Prepositional, this is the ye case I like to think of it. A or ya to ye. The exception here is the soft sign which goes to E, but that is quite rare anyway. Or goes to ye, consonant, add on ye. There we go. As always, there are rules that aren't frequently used for rare words, rare declensions, and so therefore you don't really need to focus on them that much. So if you like, here are the ones in my opinion that you don't need to worry about too much. Okay, now let's have a look at how to do this in the genitive case, which is notorious probably for all the exceptions, for the large multitude of rules that exist for this case. And so I'm not going to give you all of the rules, I'm going to give you the main ones. You can then, if you really want to, go and look up the tables and try to make sense of them if you like. I don't think that that's absolutely necessary, not at this level anyway. As long as you can understand that a noun has been declined in the genitive case, or you can do the main ones, that's great. So I'm going to do this using some examples. We'll take a masculine noun that ends in a consonant, dom, and the rule is that we add on the letter A. Dom, add on the letter A, doma. If it's a feminine noun that ends in A, you change the A to Ö. Here's our stem, ulic, add on Ö, ulice. Stanция ends in ya changes to E, we get stancie. Окно, neuter noun ends in O, we change the O to A to get окна. Поле ends in ye, change that to ya to get поле. And just as an example, нет дома, нет улицы, нет станции, нет окна, нет поля. Remember what we saw last time, we used нет, which means no, so the absence of something, always with the genitive case. We'll look at this in more detail at the end of the video. And now let's just have a look at a few plural nouns. Now I haven't shown you how to decline plural nouns in the other cases yet. We will do that in the next lesson on cases in part 6. But I would like to still show you the ones for the genitive, at least get you started. Here are the two main ones. There are still so many more rules for the genitive plural. It is probably the hardest declension of all in the whole of Russian grammar. So I'm not going to show you everything, just these two. The other thing to note is that whenever you're declining nouns in the plural, it's better to start off with their singular form rather with their plural. So we know how to make nouns plural in the nominative. If you then want to decline that in a case, it's better to return to the singular form or initially start off with a singular form and then go to the plural declension. So for example, most is a masculine noun that ends in a consonant. This is a bridge. We just add on of to get mastov. If it's a feminine noun that ends in a, very simple, we just remove the letter a at the end to get ulic. Нет мостов, нет улиц. Okay, quite simple really, but it can get hard very quickly. Some more examples. Нет мамы, no mum. Нет мам, no mums. Yes. Нет машины, a changes to no car. Нет машин, no cars. Нет билета, билет is a ticket. Нет билета, no ticket. Нет билетов, no tickets. Okay? So now let's add on these rules to our declension diagram or mind map, whatever you want to call it. So once again, a changes to ya to e, or to a, ye to ya. Consonant, add on a. In the plural, consonant, masculine noun, add on of. Feminine noun ending in a, remove the a. Okay. Now let's have a look at the instrumental case. We're going through this very quickly because it's just a matter of learning these rules. It is then up to you to practice them. I've shown you already how to practice this. It's up to you to get that done. Okay. Вода, feminine noun, ends in a. We change that to oi. Водой. Станция, again, ends in ya. We change this time to ей. Станции, that's the stem. Add on the ending for the declension. Ей. Станции. Notice how in spoken Russian people very often don't pronounce the endings fully and clearly. It is often just reduced. It's people kind of swallow the endings. That's what we say in Russian. People speak so fast that you don't distinctly hear what the exact declension is. But if you want to, then of course you can go for it and pronounce it fully. Станции. That's okay. It's just people generally just say станции. Окно, neuter. You just add on the letter to get окном. Окном. Very simple, that one. And for masculine nouns, also very easy. You just add on Город, городом. Some examples. С водой. Remember that with is always with the instrumental case. Well, actually, I kind of lied to you there. You can use with in other cases with a different case, but you don't need to know about that just yet. The main idea is when you want to say with something, then it's с, instrumental. С водой, под станцией, under the station, под окном, under the window. That's also a very common phrase in Russia. It can mean not necessarily directly under the window, but if somebody is down on the ground and you're looking out of the window, then you would say that the person below is под окном, under the window. Yes? Над городом, over the city. So maybe you're flying over a city, you would say над городом. And then one very, very useful phrase that you'll need in cafes and restaurants and so on. If you're going to order a coffee with milk, you will say кофе с молоком. С молоком. Молоко on its own ends in o. We know the rules. You just add on the letter m. С молоком. So now let's add on the rules for the instrumental to our diagram. A goes to oi. Ya goes to ей. O goes to m. Likewise with ye, that also goes to m. And then a consonant, you just add on There we go. Here are all the rules so far that you need to know. You really need to allow time to do its job. You can't immediately, know all of this and, come out tomorrow morning after having slept with a recording of all of this. Learning through sleep, that doesn't work really. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll be interested to know your stories. But otherwise, it doesn't really work. You have to do this over a long period of time. It comes with practice, with experience. All I have to say. And so to finish off the lesson, I'm going to show you some quantity words, phrases that we always use with the genitive case. So once again, to clarify, if you want to show any quantity of a noun, or it could be a pronoun actually as well, or actually the absence of it, then you have to use the genitive case. There are other European languages like Finnish, for example, that have the same idea and they use the partitive case. Well, the Russian genitive case is the version of the partitive case. So, нет, as we know, means no. Нет воды, no water. Now, I want to draw your attention to one important exception, which is just, completely defies all the rules. And I don't know why it exists, and I don't know why we say it this way, but that's just the way it is. Нет времени means no time. We would expect it to be нет времени, because ya changes to I, but it's just not that. This is just an exception, and it's an important one because you use this phrase quite often. Maybe you would say, у меня нет времени. I have no time, yes? Много means a lot or a lot of. Now, of course, if you're using a lot with a verb, for example, he works a lot, then you don't need to worry about the genitive case because verbs aren't affected by case, very simply. However, if you're talking about a lot of books, for example, много книг, then you have to use the genitive case. Yes, книга ends in a, remove the a to get plural and in the genitive, okay? Несколько means some. And this is only when you can count the thing that you want to say. So this is discrete. For example, несколько городов. Несколько городов. Some cities or some towns. Notice how we also change the stress in городов. So it's город and becomes городов. And I'm not going to go through the rules for stress. They're not really that clear, and it's better for you to just remember the stress as you learn each new word, okay? Now, if you want to describe something that cannot be counted for non-discrete quantities, then you have to use the word немного. Немного, which is just the antonym of the previous word, which means not much, or well, also some, okay? For example, flour in bakery, you can't count that, you can only measure it, so you would say немного, okay? And lastly, мало. Мало means few or a little or not a lot of. For example, мало машин. Мало машин. Not a lot of or not many cars. Another important exception, мало денег. Мало денег. Not a lot of money. Деньги, that's in the nominative case and is only in the plural. There is no singular version in Russian of money. It's always in the plural. In the genitive, it becomes денег. Okay? Мало денег. So there we go. This is all I wanted to go through in this lesson. We'll practice some more of this in the future. I'll gradually introduce some other declensions, some other rules over time. You over time will also learn some new rules by just reading books and listening to things, and you'll see, okay, this is how we decline that noun. And so you start to spot patterns eventually in the language. So it's just, as I said, wait, be patient, and you'll get there. Any questions at all, please write them in the comments, send us an email, anything like that. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye.